Milwaukee.
Good morning, 9:01. We have 68 degrees. It's going to be sunny today, maybe a few clouds this afternoon, and a high today of 76. From the WTMJ Breaking News Center, I'm Connie Weber. It's almost a wrap. The Republican National Convention in the final stretch. At his daily press conference, Milwaukee Mayor Cavalier Johnson says through the first 3 days, the city's shown its ability to handle major events.
It's been a pretty remarkable week, and I think it's fair to say that Milwaukee has shown our visitors that the city is full of great assets and also great people.
The theme for the day is Make America Great Once Again. Tonight, Donald Trump will officially accept his party's nomination at Fiserv Forum. On the other side of the aisle, there's mounting pressure on the Democratic nominee to step aside. ABC's Selena Wang says Joe Biden's positive COVID test isn't helping anything.
This could not have come at a worse time for President Biden. He's been on the campaign trail trying to prove he has the stamina to stay in this race. But now all of that is on hold as calls for him to drop out grow louder.
Both parties are talking about the future of Joe Biden as the Democratic presidential candidate. RNC attendee Joan Johnson of West Texas hopes that if Biden steps off the ticket, Vice President Kamala Harris takes his place.
It'd make it easier on Trump if one of them is the candidate. Somebody else, it's a flip of a coin, maybe.
Other Republicans at this conclave think Donald Trump is unbeatable by any Democrat. This evening, they'll get Trump's take on that topic. Jim Ryan, ABC News, Milwaukee.
Conspicuously absent from the RNC here at his home state, former House Speaker Paul Ryan. Former Governor Tommy Thompson tells Wisconsin's Afternoon News.
Paul Ryan should be here. And maybe when he sees all the people that come out and said, we're going to get behind Donald Trump, we need a change of direction, I think Paul may see the light and come back into this party again and be a leader. He's a wonderful man, a great leader, and it's too bad he's not here.
Ryan has publicly said he will not vote for Donald Trump in 2024. Smoke hung in the air through the morning rush after a large church fire on Milwaukee's west side. TMJ4's Brendan Jones has more from 39th and Lisbon.
I spoke to a neighbor, Deanna Young, who says she lives in the building right next to where this fire is taking place, and she got woken up this morning around 1 by the smoke.
You could just smell it, but then it started stronger and stronger. Then my house is all full of smoke from the fire. And then the firemen were banging on my door. They told us had to come out, so I came out of the porch.
No word yet on the cause. Another police shooting in Milwaukee, this one overnight, and a man wanted for double shooting shot and wounded by Milwaukee police at a gas station on Capitol Drive, not close to the RNC. Police say they found the wanted 22-year-old man at the station. He pulled out a rifle shot at them. After some talking, he came out of the gas station again, fired more shots. They fired back, wounding him. Lawyer for Terrell Davis says United Airlines' apology to the NFL Hall of Famer is not enough. Davis was taken off a flight in handcuffs last week after an incident with a flight attendant. United apologized to the athlete, but Davis's attorney told TMZ they want real action on top of the apology, including an investigation. It's July. Home Depot getting a head start on Halloween decorations. Starting tomorrow, the hardware chain will start rolling out its 2024 Halloween decorations. Halloween's a billion-dollar business in the U.S. According to the National Retail Federation, last year Americans spent over $12 billion on Halloween. Time for news about your money in the WTMJ Annex Wealth Management Market Update. The Dow is up 125 points. The S&P 500 is up 19, and the NASDAQ Composite today is up 65 points. Financial planning at every level. Annex Comprehensive Wealth, Annex Private Client, Annex Ignite. Details at annexwealth.com. Sports, traffic, and weather are next. Citing Unlimited, WTMJ News Time, 9:05.
Are you a veteran who needs assistance? Do you know a veteran who needs help? The Wisconsin Department of Veterans Affairs is here for Wisconsin veterans, their families, and their survivors. We can help connect veterans with services such as medical care, financial and legal assistance, housing, mental health services, substance use treatment, and more. For more information, please visit wisvets.com. That's WIS vets.com. Sponsored by the Wisconsin Department of Veterans Affairs.
Alleviate your pain, rejuvenate your life.
Rejuvenex.com.
Don't let a cold, sinus infection, or allergies ruin your day. Breathe easier, sleep better, and feel healthier with Navage. Visit Navage.com, Walmart, Walgreens, CVS, or a store near you.
This is Brad Youngbooth with Semper Fi Roofing and Exteriors, your local, veteran-owned and operated exterior remodeling company. We have two big humps in this business, right before summer and right after fall. And for us, that's when the lines are the longest. Folks usually choose to do their exterior work during those times, and what I'm trying to do here with this message is level out the flow of business so that we don't have to disappoint anyone come November and December because they were hoping to get their work done before the snow flies. I understand where the focus is during summer, but you know what? It really is a great time to get signed up for your exterior work, like siding and windows, because that's when the lines are the shortest, and it's the one time that we're pretty sure we're not going to get any snow. So if you're looking to get your work done, why put it off? The lines are shorter and we'll be ready. For your new roof, siding, window and door installation, or masonry work, call Semper Fi, because you can count on Semper Fi to keep you safe, warm, and dry.
We keep you safe, warm, and dry. Semper Fi.
Time for a WTMJ Sports Update from the Gruber Law Office's One Call That's All Sports Desk. Packers returned to the practice field yesterday. Veterans report Sunday. No holdouts expected, but Jordan Love still needs a new contract. Green Bay prepares for his first preseason game against the Browns August 10th. The Brewers begin the second half of their season Saturday night, squaring off against the Twins for the first of two games at Target Field. And the Bucks hit the hardwood again tomorrow afternoon. Team tips off against the Suns as the NBA Summer League continues from Las Vegas. Taking a look at the roads now with your WTMJ Johnson & Sons favoring time-saver traffic. Some disabled vehicles causing maybe just a few delays. I-43 north at the ramp from North Avenue. That's actually blocking the right lane. I-41 north at the ramp from Highway G. The right shoulder is blocked due to a disabled vehicle, and also one on the exit from Highway 83 from I-94 west. Here's your WTMJ 5-day forecast. Sunny today, maybe some afternoon clouds, a high 76. Clear and cool tonight, low 61. Mostly sunny Friday with a high of 80. Partly cloudy, warmer Saturday, 83. A little bit more humid on Sunday, slight chance of a shower, high of 81. And a slight chance of a shower again on Monday. Partly cloudy skies with a high of 82. 66 in Madison, Green Bay 68, Milwaukee 68 degrees. I'm Connie Weber, Sighting Unlimited, WTMJ News Time 9:08.
This is WTMJ at the Republican National Convention. Now broadcasting live from Media Row at the Panther Arena inside the RNC. This is the Political Power Hour. Here is your host, Steve Scafidi.
Day 4, RNC Panther Arena in Milwaukee. Welcome to all those folks listening on traditional radio and everywhere else, the stream and YouTube and podcasting eventually. Always appreciate each and every one on view for tuning in. We're going to be all over the place today because I wanted to sort of frame my 4 days at the RNC with a both sides debates. Now, if you listen to the show, you know that's what we try to do every day with guests from both sides, elected officials representing both major parties in this country, and punditry and strategists that all sort of have a different perspective. And we're going to approach the show today with that same approach. Let's go to Minnesota.
And we're talking to the governor of the great state of Minnesota, Tim Walz. Good morning, Governor.
Hey, good morning, Steve. I'm out at your beautiful airport here in Milwaukee on a beautiful Wisconsin day, so glad to be over here.
We brought out the welcome mat for you. So I got to ask you, Democratic governor coming to the RNC in Milwaukee. Walk me through that process. What's that about?
Well, look, I've served under both these presidents, and as a governor, you've got to do public health, you got to deliver roads, bridges, things like that, and I think there's just a clear contrast, whether it be the Infrastructure Act or whether it be how COVID was handled. I think there's a big difference, and governors, in many cases, are much more localized. They have to deliver the results. So I'm over here to kind of make the case that this administration has been able to deliver. We're able to move us out of potential recession. But I think what many of us are seeing, up north, Governor Evers and I were up there when we're going to redo the Blackneck Bridge, connecting Superior and Duluth. Those things matter, and that's the choice that's coming.
Is that President Biden's? That's one of his biggest ticket items when it comes to selling himself for a second term. Is projects like that, all the infrastructure money?
Yeah. I do. I think it's a big deal. But look, I recognize people say, what have you done for me lately? I think that is a big piece of it. I think that impacts people. I think job creation is there. I think, resourcing chip manufacturing back. You're seeing a lot of that in Wisconsin, moving towards a more sustainable energy future. And then the issues that that people care about, the personal freedoms to make your own healthcare decisions, make your own choices in life. Those are the things that I think also matter. And looking towards a future where we're more united, we're more, visionary looking, because I have to tell you, it's pretty negative over here. It's just a lot of trying to figure out how to divide us. I don't mean Wisconsin. I mean the RNC. It's just kind of demonizing folks that are our neighbors in many cases. So I think he needs to talk about the things we've done. This infrastructure matters to people. Job creations matter. But those personal freedoms things. I think if you'd have gathered at a Republican convention 20 years ago, you'd heard a lot about freedom and it had been true. I don't necessarily know if I'm seeing that now.
Let's talk about the ticket. Donald Trump, now we know it's J.D. Vance as vice president. What does that ticket selection of J.D. Vance say to you?
Well, that they don't care about reproductive rights, clearly. J.D. Vance is the most extremist member of the Senate. And look, I take this personally on this. J.D. Vance voted against and tried to restrict IVF and other reproductives for in vitro fertilization. My wife and I used reproductive services to have our children. That was our choice. I certainly wouldn't want a J.D. Vance making that choice. And I think it makes the case that America doesn't value our allegiances. J.D. Vance is the most anti-NATO, most anti-allied congressman we've seen. He served some time in the Marine Corps, and I thank him for that. I myself did 24 years. But I learned something. I worked on NATO missions. I was with these people, and we need them, and they need us. So I think now that they're doubling down on an agenda that Donald Trump has made clear about, that the wealthy are going to get their tax cuts. Those that don't look like everybody else are going to be demonized a bit. We're not going to celebrate our diversity. We're going to demonize that. So I think this ticket just doubled down on that. This is just a little bit younger chronological in age, although J.D. Vance and Donald Trump's policies are about 100 years old. So I think that's what you're going to get.
Minnesota Governor Tim Walz joining us on the phone. All right, so your choice for president, current incumbent in the White House in the Oval Office, is Joe Biden. Very poor performance at the debates. What can Joe Biden do from a Democrat's perspective to close the deal with American voters?
Yeah, and I don't think you dodge that. I've had bad debates too, but you need to go back out and tell people what you're going to do. I think he needs to show that he's capable of doing the job. And look, that's his responsibility. But I think also some of us can talk about this. And I'm sure his team didn't like this. But the day before that horrific debate, I was on the phone with him for about 20 minutes or so, and the FEMA folks talking about the flood recovery. That was the day, if you remember, where the Rapidan Dam, about 6 miles up the Blue Earth River from my house, was looking to fail. We had massive flooding. The president himself's on the phone making sure we're getting things, talking with FEMA 5 region directors on there. So he's doing the job as president. I think for us to convey that he was clearly engaged in this, he knew what was going on, he knew what was happening. Because, look, people can't unsee what they felt like. Look, this guy's a little older, he said that. Never was a super eloquent speaker, but he was a passionate speaker, and he knew the issues. And we've seen him in press conferences after NATO, a command of foreign policy like no one else. Donald Trump's command of foreign policy is a shakedown to our allies who fought with the beaches on Normandy with us. Now all of a sudden we want to charge them for protection. It's no concept of how this works together. So I think it's incumbent upon the president and supporters like myself to go make that case and to show people because the choice is going to be stark and the direction the country goes is going to be critical. And I hope we don't just make it on because he fumbled a word or something. I hope it's in the results.
As a Democrat, do you find yourself watching most of the RNC coverage?
I try to watch. I will be candid with you. It's a bit painful to me because what I keep coming in, it's not the America that I see. It feels like they're rooting for failure, that they're telling you it's just as horrible. Donald Trump said it. I don't like Milwaukee. It's a horrible city. None of that's true. It's a fantastic, vibrant city with a great history, and we're all here enjoying it. It's that type of thing that you got to tell people to be afraid. You got to tell people that I'm the only guy who can protect you. So that it's not the reality, and it feels to me very un-American. We are hopeful, optimistic, and strong people. So quit telling them that the sky's falling in when they know it's not. Look, it's a challenge. Every country went through this after COVID. Climate change is real and these weather patterns. But let's get together and solve it and quit making, a fellow American the enemy. I love this country as much as everybody else. I may be wrong on policies and things, which is fair to debate, but I certainly love it. And I think there's continuously division. Then we end up with these horrific situations where the president's life being in danger, or Paul Pelosi, or my friend Gabby Giffords. This is the type of stuff that I said over here. It just seems very dark. I hope in Chicago you see a much more optimistic vision of the future.
Minnesota Governor Tim Walz, thanks for taking the time to join us. I know you got a busy day.
Thanks. Yeah, pleasure to speak with you.
All right, after the break, we'll hear one more from the left side of the political aisle. Ben Wickler, chair of the Democratic Party. And then at 9:35, Wisconsin Congressman Tom Tiffany from the northern tier of Wisconsin will join us right here on the Political Power Hour on 620 WTMJ.
Welcome to another episode of Analysis, man.
From Bucks superstar Giannis.
And then I'm going to Chris at the time. What did coach mean? What do you...
And even Green Bay QB Jordan Love. There's only one call for these conversations.
I've never been in a Lambo, and I have to, right? What is this Lambo league?
Tune in to the Thanalysis Show, presented by Gruber Law Offices. One call, that's all. Find it today on Apple, Spotify, and anywhere you get podcasts.
Hey, it's WTMJ. Steve Skivity here for Heiser Automotive. I've loved talking about Heiser. You know this. I've had the great pleasure and honor of driving their vehicles for the last 5 years. Right now, almost time to turn it back in. The beautiful Chevy Equinox 2023 version I have. You can get the newest model. Just go to one of their great locations, especially in West Dallas. Heiser Chevrolet. Great gas mileage. I don't know if I've talked about this enough. 31 on the highway, maybe a little bit higher than that. All the great technology you expect with Chevrolet. You can see all their vehicles, pre-owned or new, on their great locations, or go to Heiser.com. You can just sort by vehicle and brand and all the things you want, the features and options, and they've got them all. Trust me, I just went through this process because we're in the business of buying now a car from Heiser Chevrolet, so we'll tell you about that when we get a little bit closer to the final deal on that one. Great Programs is also part of their great customer service, safe and sound, vehicle exchange, roadside assistance for life, and I'm just getting started. They've got all the great customer service options for you and all the great vehicle options for the vehicle pre-owned or new that you buy from Heiser. That's why they can say every day, today's your day.
Buying a home should be a joy, but could you imagine doing this without a realtor? Paperwork, inspections, appraisals, deadlines, showings, market research? Or you could relax. Or understanding legal documents, negotiating offers, coordinating inspections, securing finance. Oh, sorry. A realtor can take the stress out of the home buying process. See how at wra.org/a-realtor-can. Brought to you by the Wisconsin Realtors Association.
Realtors are members of the National Association of Realtors.
All right, we're broadcasting live from the Panther Arena. RNC. Did you know it was in town? Yeah, I did. Milwaukee, center of the political universe. And as I said at the beginning, we're going to give you a left and right perspective on the state of the race, where we are at right now. Joining us, one more on the left side, liberal side, Democratic side, all of that. He's the chairman of the Wisconsin Democratic Party, Ben Wickler. Good morning, sir.
Mr. Scafidi, it's good to be with you today.
Always great to talk to you, and I appreciate you coming on. I know I've seen you walking around at the RNC. How does that happen?
I am, here to provide my insights to our friends in the press, and America needs to hear from all points of view in this situation. So, everyone's been very gracious. At least people who, I'm not sure most of the Republicans know who the Wisconsin Democratic state chair is, but fundamentally,
don't be so sure of that, my friend. Don't be so sure of that. All right, let me ask you a question. This is the question for Democrats, right? Joe Biden, is he really ready for 4 more years? Because I just want to give you my take on it. Now he's got COVID. He's had serious issues. The debate was a train wreck, and I think all of us agree on that. Where is the campaign, or probably more importantly, where's the candidate right now when he should be campaigning for the next 4 years? Where is Joe Biden?
Donald Trump got COVID and then went on the debate stage with Joe Biden. Joe Biden has COVID, and he's doing his work from Delaware while he gets through the period of being infectious. But what we know about Joe Biden is that he's really, really good at being president. And when we see him on the campaign trail, like in Madison, Wisconsin, the week after the debate, North Carolina, the day after the debate was really, really tough. But in North Carolina, Madison, and in Detroit, he's given rip-roaring stump speeches laying out his vision for the next term. They got everyone pumping their fists in the air. It is eminently clear that he has a vision for exactly what he wants to do, expanding Social Security and Medicare, signing Roe versus Wade into law, signing the PRO Act for unions. I can go on with the list. And it is so much better than the vision in Project 2025. So elections are a choice between two different futures for the country. And the vision and plan that Joe Biden has demonstrated that he can carry out if he's reelected, that's exactly what Americans want and what I'm fighting for.
Yeah, but Ben, I mean, we understand the ideology and the policy differences. They're clear and they're stark and they're vast. I think all of us who cover politics, talk about politics, work in politics, get that. But ultimately, doesn't it come down to, for the voter who maybe doesn't digest politics like you or I do or others, to a look at a candidate? We see what happened last Saturday. The president survives an assassination attempt, seems to be very vibrant, kicked Joe Biden's you-know-what in the debates, and that's one example. And then we see Joe Biden, who performed horribly in that debate, has not done well until his presentations, his campaign stump speeches are presented on a teleprompter. I knew Joe Biden. I met with him many times, albeit 10 years ago. This version doesn't seem to be the Joe Biden that I knew 10 years ago.
I think the biggest quality in a leader is judgment. The second one is related, and it's character. And I don't know anyone who thinks that either of those things has slipped even an iota in Joe Biden. Yeah, obviously, he doesn't walk like he used to. He mixes up words more than he used to. Those things are true, and they don't affect the actual thing that we rely on our president to do, which is to have a cool head in times of crisis, which we're in one of those right now, and to make the right call to steer the nation in the right direction. He's so good at that. And I think about the moment when Israel struck a target in Iran, and Iran responded with a flood of missiles. Biden was in the Situation Room for like 4.5 hours on the phone with military leaders and with foreign leaders across the world, and he was able to help engineer a way that played out that prevented what could have been a catastrophic war. And the number of things like that are happening in front of the scenes and behind the scenes all the time, it's startlingly effective to see, and we know that Donald Trump would completely whiff in moments like that. We saw how he whiffed when the biggest crisis of the last decade came through, which is the COVID pandemic. It was a complete flaming disaster and train wreck. And that's, I want to have a president in the White House who I can sleep easy knowing that they're going to make the right call when the moment comes.
Ben Wickler, chair of the Wisconsin Democratic Party, joining us on 620 WTMJ live from the RNC. I've asked this question of almost every guest I've had this week. Today, not the entire campaign, but today, what is the biggest issue to Wisconsin voters? What is it? Is it the economy, their budget, border policy, crime? What is it?
Well, there's the question. There's what is the issue that people are thinking about in that particular moment. And right now, I think people are thinking about the Republicans because we're in the Republican National Convention. Then there's the question of what is the thing that will define your vote? What is the line that you won't cross? The number one issue is still, even though it hasn't been mentioned once, I think strategically from the stage at the Republican National Convention, is the question of whether politicians should get to make people's most personal medical decisions, like around abortion and around IVF and around emergency contraception, or whether it should be the actual people involved who make those decisions. And I was knocking on the doors of undecided voters this past weekend, and they had this and that quarrel with the president, and then they got angry when they thought about Trump and Republican politicians making decisions in their personal lives. It was pretty basic. And there's probably about a third of the voters say that they simply, no matter what else comes up, they will not vote for someone who's on the other side of their views on this. There's a Gallup national poll on this that is public that found 3-to-1 single-issue voters around abortion are people who think it should be left up to women, to the families, to the people who get pregnant, and not to politicians. And 1 in 4 are people who think we should have abortion bans, like J.D. Vance has advocated repeatedly. I still think that is the most critical issue.
Last question. Are you confident that a week from now, Joe Biden will be the candidate for Democrats? Because there's a lot of people that are jumping ship. Adam Schiff was one of the most recently is concerned, and you and I both know the other names. Are you confident that Joe Biden will be the nominee next week?
I am. President Biden has built towards this moment his whole life, and it's been a long life with lots of huge challenges that he's overcome and adversity he's overcome, and he knows that he can do this job. And I'm confident that next week maybe we'll be having another version of this conversation, but this is someone who is in this to win this.
Ben Wickler, chair of the Wisconsin Democratic Party, always welcome on the show. Always appreciate your willingness to talk to our audience. Thanks, Ben.
Really grateful for the chance to join you, and holy smokes, Project 2025 has become the vice president nominee of the Republican Party, so I hope folks look that up.
All right, we'll take a break here for local and national news. I'll be back a little bit before that to talk about my next guest, who is in the wings as we speak. We're listening, of course, to 620 WTMJ.
Welcome to another episode of Analysis, man.
From Buck superstar Giannis.
And then I'm going to Chris at the time. What did coach mean? What do you?
And even Green Bay QB Jordan Love. There's only one call for these conversations.
I've never been in a Lambeau, and I have to, right? What is this Lambeau league?
Tune in to the Thanalysis Show, presented by Gruber Law Offices. One call, that's all. Find it today on Apple, Spotify, and anywhere you get podcasts.
Hey, this is WTMJ Steve Scafidi for Adair, A-D-A-I-R. Simple as that. Adair Floors and Remodeling, South 27th Street in Franklin. That is right between Rawson and Ryan Road, Highway 100 on I-94. They helped me design both my kitchen floor and my basement landing area, and they can help with all your flooring and remodeling needs. Our floors look amazing. And the one upstairs is like 20 years old. It still looks like brand new. Does that appeal to you? Home or business? Family owned and operated, great design team, willing to listen, which is really important when you're trying to figure out what your house is going to look like, or office. They're family owned and operated, 65 years in business, and that means something. If you stop in, tell them I sent them, tell them I sent them to you. Adair Floors, A-D-A-I-R Floors.com.
When your car or truck needs service, you should take it to a specialist. I'm Jim Token, president of the Auto Dealers Association of Metro Milwaukee. At a member, new car dealers have factory warranted parts, the latest diagnostic equipment, and certified manufacturer technicians. Plus, their prices are as low or lower than independent shops, even on routine things like oil changes and tire service. Knowing all that, why would you ever consider going anywhere other than an Adam member dealer?
Visit family-owned Ken Michaels Furniture and our in-store design centers, where you'll still find beautiful, luxurious, heirloom-quality American-made furniture. Right now, save 30 to 35% store-wide and take advantage of our complimentary design services. Whether you're moving, renovating, or updating, our designers will help your vision become a reality. Visit Ken Michaels Furniture in Brookfield on Capitol Drive and in Greenfield on Highway 100 to save 30 to 35% store-wide today. Sleep better and save more with mattresses from Milwaukee Mattress and Ken Michaels Furniture. Handcrafted in our Milwaukee factory, our mattresses utilize natural materials like cotton cushioning, which dissipates body heat, Joma wool quilts for warm wintry nights and cool summer evenings, and natural latex providing superior conformability and pressure relief for aching joints. Stop in today at any Ken Michaels Furniture store and save up to 50% compared to national brands.
Is your lawn more yellow than green already this spring? Vince Vitrano for Great Lakes Landscape, Southeast Wisconsin's premier lawn, landscape, and snow management company. Time is now to sign up for a season-long fertilizer and weed treatment program that'll have your lawn looking tip-top in no time. Fresh mulch for the flower beds, or a full landscape maintenance package, that's available too. This is the go-to team for patios and new construction landscape as well. Tell them you want your lawn looking as good as mine. Great Lakes Landscape. That's Great Lakes Landscape, WI.com.
Always great to talk politics, especially from the RNC here in Milwaukee. All right, after the break, Wisconsin's northernmost district for Congress. Tom Tiffany will join us. He's live. He's walking around the building. Before we get to any of that, local news and the latest from ABC.
ABC News, I'm Sherry Preston. The Republican National Convention culminates today with former President Trump expected to accept the party's nomination. His vice presidential pick, Ohio Senator J.D. Vance, headlined the Faith and Freedom Coalition's breakfast today in Milwaukee. He says of Donald Trump,
it's just such an honor to be on the ticket with him. It's such an honor
to stand with him after what happened last Saturday. I'm sure that you've heard a lot of people say this, but you will never be able to convince me that that last second turn of a head was anything other than a miracle.
More calls on the head of the Secret Service to step aside following the security breaches during the assassination attempt. Battling COVID and at home in Delaware, President Biden is being urged by Democrats to rethink his re-election bid. Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer, and Hakeem Jeffries all said to have told him that it would be bad for Democrats if he remains on the ticket. Paris police setting up an anti-terrorism perimeter across central Paris as the Summer Olympics approaches a little over a week from now. This is ABC News.
Citing Unlimited WTMJ News Time 9:31, delegates at Pfizer Forum reacting to the news that President Biden's tested positive for COVID. Donna Williams of North Carolina tells WTMJ.
I think it's another step of them pushing him out the door. That's what I think.
Yesterday afternoon, a fighter jet had to escort a small plane out of the restricted airspace above the RNC. No indication the plane was a threat. An F-35 intercepted it, escorted it out of the no-fly zone. Logs show the pilot was flying from Indiana to Oshkosh. In Racine, a 4-year-old went to the hospital after a fire in an apartment complex. Firefighters arrived, found a lot of smoke, and the child hiding under a bed in a room. 2 firefighters also went to the hospital to be checked out. No word yet on the cause of the fire. Time for some news about your money in the WTMJ Annex Wealth Management Market Update. The Dow is up 135 points at 41,333. S&P 500 is up 5,596. The NASDAQ just turned down 14 points, 17,982. Get an honest opinion of where you are financially and where you're headed. Work with the fee-only fiduciary. Start at annexwealth.com. Taking a look at the roads now with your WTMJ Johnson & Sons paving time saver traffic. There is a broken down vehicle on the exit to Locust Street from I-43 North, so maybe a little bit of a delay there. Also, a little bit of slow and go in the construction zone. I-894 westbound, the Mitchell interchange to the Hale interchange. Here's your WTMJ 5-day forecast. Sunny today with a couple of clouds this afternoon. A high of 76. Clear and cool tonight with a low 61. Sunny tomorrow with a high of 80. Partly cloudy. Warmer on Saturday. High of 83. A little bit more humidity for the weekend. Slight chance of showers both Sunday and Monday. Sunday's high 81. Monday 82. Madison 66. Green Bay at 68. Milwaukee 68 degrees. I'm Connie Weber. Citing Unlimited WTMJ News Time 9:33.
A buck in today's world doesn't go far unless you're spending it at Griffin. Because for just $1 over cost, you can buy brand new tires from us. Buy one or a whole set. This is Jim Griffin. Any major brand. We'll put you in new tires for just $1 over our cost with free tire repair and lifetime rotation. That's right, $1 over cost, and we'll even show you the invoice to prove it. So what's the catch? There's really no catch. You don't have to buy a car or a truck from us. We'd like it if you did, but our only requirement is we put them on for you. Buy 1, 2, or a set of 4. The $1 deal at Griffin. Available at Griffin Chrysler Jeep South 27th Street and Jefferson. Griffin Chevrolet in the Auto Mall. Griffin Ford, Waukesha, and Fort Atkinson. 5 ways to make your dollar go further. Griffin, the buck stops here, but the deals on tires don't. $1 over cost. That's Griffin.
Not combinable with other tire offers.
Whether you're an active or passively active home shopper, our agents want you to be completely up to date with what's out there and what's brand new to the market. With our instant emailed MLS updates, you'll never miss out on what could be the home of your dreams. All you have to do is call and tell us where to search, give us a price range, and soon you'll be totally in tune with your desired real estate market. Remember, MLS searches show you everything. Some of the other real estate sites don't. So call Benefit Realty today, where you'll pay less for full service. Benefit-realty.com. 3.5 to 3.9% real estate commission. You can't find a lower rate of commission, and you won't be able to find better knowledge, service, and real estate expertise than you'll find with our agents at Benefit Realty. Because I know that's what you expect. Now, I'm not sure you'll be able to find the highest caliber of agents everywhere, but I can promise that's what you'll get here. So choose Benefit Realty to exceed your expectations, and you'll pay less for more. This is Angela Calais with Benefit Realty, where you pay less for full service. Benefit-realty.com.
We are broadcasting live from the RNC Panther Arena. Things are heating up. Eric Trump was here earlier. And my next guest is here. He's live, because Ben was on the phone, Ben Wickler. Wisconsin Congressman from the northern tier of the state, Tom Tiffany. Pleasure as always to see you, my friend.
Steve, it's good to join you.
We've talked on the podcast. We've talked on the show. So you've been here since Sunday. Your outlook, and how does this week play out?
It just seems like it's a very well-run convention. But the thing that I've been doing is welcoming people to Wisconsin. This is the birthplace of the Republican Party. 1854, Ripon, Wisconsin.
You see the little thing outside?
Yeah. So, I'm surprised the number of people are like, oh, really? And so it's good that we're reminding them of that. And so here we are back in 2024, 170 years later.
So a horrific weekend, and it potentially could have been unbelievably historically, but the president survives an assassination attempt in Butler, Pennsylvania. First of all, were you aware of that immediately? How does that work? Because you're an elected official, you're a congressman. Is that something that goes out across the communication channels?
Friends were contacting me immediately. I was working on the honeydew list up in where we live. We
all know what that is, yes.
Weekends short, honeydew list long.
Right.
But then it was probably 10, 15 minutes after it happened. I finally called a friend who called me a couple times, and so heard about it then, and just praying for people's safety. I think first and foremost, recognition for Corey Comparatore, the first responder who was there.
Just a fan of Donald Trump, too.
Died. And that's horrible for their family, really horrible. So, our thoughts, prayers go out for them and the other people that were hurt at that. But, the next question, Steve, is going to be, how did this happen?
What do you think the answer is going to be? Because it's not looking good for the Secret Service or their leadership. And the leader of the Secret Service was here, I believe, yesterday, and she was not answering the tough questions. And there will be tough questions to come.
I don't know why she came here with everything that's so much in flux. So we're getting more answers as we go along, but I don't want to get too far out over my skis commenting about, what we've seen and some of the stuff that we've heard. Let's have full investigation. Let's do it as promptly as possible. But I got to tell you, there's not a lot of trust right now, Steve, with the intelligence agencies when we've seen what the FBI has done over the last few years, and there needs to be a truly independent investigation.
Why is that? Why have we lost faith in our governmental institutions?
I think it goes back to, so I sit on judiciary, so we ask those questions. And by the way, FBI Director Wray is before us next week. You can bet he is going to be questioned in regards to this. It goes back to FBI Director Wray acknowledged to us a number of months ago that they had been surveilling Catholics in a conservative church in Richmond, Virginia. And it turns out this is happening in other...
For what purpose?
Supposedly white supremacists or something like that. These extremely conservative people that could be a threat to America. I mean, this is the kind of stuff that's been happening with the FBI. They've lost their mission. In fact, I'd reinforce that. I just sat with an FBI agent when I flew back from D.C. to Minneapolis. I hubbed through Minneapolis and had a really good chat with this guy. He's a rank-and-file guy. He's been there a long time. And he said, our leadership has lost their way. And we hear that from a number of the whistleblowers that are with the FBI. They've lost their way. We have to fix that, Steve, because that's always been a respected law enforcement agency and the intelligence agencies. People in America don't have faith in them.
Real quick before the break, does Donald Trump reestablish that faith if he's elected to a second term?
I think it's going to be one of the number one things that he has to do. And I would agree with it, regardless of who's running for president. Sitting on that Judiciary Committee, the information that we see, it's time for real changes.
Wisconsin Congressman Tom Tiffany joining us at the Panther Arena live from the RNC after the break. The number 2 choice, J.D. Vance, is now official, and he made his comments last night. We'll get his thoughts about that. Tom Tiffany, our guest on the Political Power Hour from the RNC, right here on 620 WTMJ.
Travel deliciously to Milwaukee, Chicago, or around the world. This is Teresa with Milwaukee Food and City Tours. Listen this Saturday at noon to hear about our next adventure, or join a tour at MilwaukeeFoodTours.com.
Hey, this is WTMJ's Steve Skifty for Annex Wealth Management. Annex Wealth Management, a clear choice for today's environment where clear thinking combined with conflict-free advice is a must. Inflation is still a big issue. Add in market uncertainty, and you might feel a little uncertain as well. Plus, the presidential election, did you hear that was going on, is going to have a far-reaching impact on future tax policy. and an investment retirement plan built by the fee-only fiduciaries at Annex Wealth Management makes sense on so many levels. If knowing where you are and where you can go is important, then head to annexwealth.com, click on the now famous Get Started button. I did that. 3 years later, never looked back. Plus, Annex isn't going to push commission products on you. Annex makes it convenient. They handle every aspect: retirement investment planning, tax planning, estate planning. One stop, 8 convenient locations for in-person meetings or with virtual Zoom. I've done it both ways. They both work great. There's a significant difference between financial advisors. Work with the fee-only fiduciary. Know the difference. Start at annexwealth.com.
Sorry, but we actually have a wait list for our Monstera.
Shaw's greenhouse is really bringing in the green.
We can't keep snake plants in stock.
She needs a construction manager to build on her roots and grow.
We could add a whole section for ferns. And here we'd have dahlias, dahlias, and more dahlias.
Indeed can help her hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. You can schedule and conduct virtual interviews all from your employer dashboard. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
eBay Motors is here for the ride. Go ahead, feel your engine. Admire that perfectly installed exhaust. Your vehicle's moving along this freeway like it was made from fresh installs and a whole lot of love. With eBay Motors, you get over 122 million parts to keep it running. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, they'll be the perfect fit every time. Plus, at these prices, well, we're burning rubber, not cash. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
WTMJ's Eric Bilstead. It's swimming season, or for some of us, golfing or gardening season. But you're not out there enjoying your favorite hobby because you're sidelined from arthritic joint pain. Bone-on-bone pain in your knees or hips, maybe. Here's what you do. You call QC Kinetics. There are exciting new cellular therapies that can get you the lasting relief you need. QC Kinetics is helping patients all the time. I'm talking cutting-edge treatments that accelerate your own body's healing properties, revitalizing your joints so you can move again. It's not sorcery, it's technology, and you don't need surgery. Call QC Kinetics. The local professionals at QC Kinetics in Greenfield and in Mequon are ready to help you. Here's the phone number, 414-285-3474. That's 414-285-3474. Call QC Kinetics now for your free consultation. 414-285-3474. Call QC Kinetics today.
Now, in that cemetery, there are people who were born around the time of the Civil War. And if, as I hope, my wife and I are eventually laid to rest there, and our kids follow us, there will be 7 generations just in that small mountain cemetery plot in eastern Kentucky. 7 generations of people who have fought for this country, who have built this country, who have made things in this country, and who would fight and die to protect this country if they were asked to.
That is Donald Trump's vice presidential pick, J.D. Vance, Ohio Senator. Tom Tiffany, my guest here, Congressman from Wisconsin. What do you think of the pick?
Yeah, I think it's a good pick. So I think oftentimes the presidential candidates and the common thinking is you do a balancing act on it. No, this was a reinforcement pick for the America First policies that President Trump was putting in place in his first term and certainly would be done in the second term.
One of the things I like about the pick, 39 years old. Like it or not, we have 2 very old candidates for president, and there's a lot that goes with that, and we've talked about it endlessly during this run-up to the November election. I like the fact that we are looking at, from a voter's perspective, at a different generation with the same lens on all the problems, but from a different generation's look at it.
Yeah, it's certainly a passing the torch to a certain extent. I think also this is a pick that emphasizes Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Wisconsin. You're going to see him in these states a lot because there's a lot of people that feel they've been left behind with the globalization over the last 3 to 4 decades, and he is going to speak to that.
What do you expect to hear from the president tonight? He's making his big speech. There's a lot of early noise or communication that's going to be a little more unifying. Is that what you expect?
Yeah, that's the stuff that's being said at this point, is that it's going to be very much a unifying speech. I think you are going to see, not just tonight, but through the rest of this campaign, a different Donald Trump. I mean, when you almost get your head blown off, I think it changes your perspective on the world.
Real quick before I let you go, because I know you got to do another interview, I've asked almost every guest, both sides of the aisle, what is the issue driving this election for voters. And I would argue it's sort of shifted maybe from the economy to fitness to serve, because that's certainly been a conversation in the last week. But is the dollars, budget, family budget, gas and everything else we got to buy, the price gone up, is that the issue that you think driving this election?
James Carville famously said it's the economy,
right.
Stupid. It is always the economy, it's inflation. But it's also the border, and I think foreign policy. Your previous guest talked about the strength of Joe Biden in regards to foreign policy. If you heard those Gold Star families in regards to Afghanistan,
one of the most powerful moments I've ever seen on TV.
Yeah,
I could not turn away.
When Joe Biden said in that debate that no one had lost their lives, no service members lost their lives, and they showed that that is not the truth. Joe Biden's not been strong on the world stage. We need a strong America, peace through strength. Let's get control of inflation. Let's secure the border. And we saw President Trump do that in his first term.
Tom Tiffany, Congressman, Northern Wisconsin. Which areas do you serve at the top of the state so people know?
So draw a line from Florence to Wausau, to Marshfield, to Hudson, and everything north. That's us. 26 counties. I cover 40% of the state.
That's amazing. 40%. I didn't think about it that way.
We love it. It's small-town America. And by the way, it's J.D. Vance's America.
That's right. Yeah, he told that story last night. Always a pleasure to talk to you. We'll do it again down the line. We'll take a break here. Listening, of course, to the Political Power Hour, our RNC coverage. You're listening to 620 WTMJ.
I'm Greg Matzik. In Green Bay, the Ed Policy era will begin in July of 2025. The current chief operating officer of the Packers, he is going to replace current president and CEO Mark Murphy.
And I'm Jessica Ty. New details at noon about Ascension's cybersecurity attack. The hospital group now says it knows how the attackers gained access to their systems.
What is that exactly?
Wisconsin's Midday News.
Weekdays 11 to 1
at 620 WTMJ.
Grandpa was long retired from working in the Rapids paper mill when I finished law school.
Dan Krause, Army veteran and owner of Krause Estate Planning and Elder Law Center.
Grandpa and Grandma asked me to help them get their wills set up. They worried about losing the homestead if they needed nursing care. This was my first experience with estate planning. I just loved it. During the years that I spent in the Army Reserves as a JAG attorney, I was building a small estate planning law firm. After retiring from 21 years in the Army, I've been growing the firm with 3 offices now to help more seniors like my grandparents. At Krause Estate Planning, our entire team loves helping seniors. It's a requirement in our recruiting process. We do help people of all ages, but we hope all of our clients will become seniors one day.
Krause Estate Planning and Elder Law Center in Brookfield, Madison, and Oregon. A veteran-owned law firm.
Krause Estate Planning and Elder Law Center.
Hey, this is WTMJ Steve Scaffidi for Advent. Told you about it. Tossing and turning, restless nights of sleep, grouchy sometimes if you don't get your sleep. My nose wasn't working properly. I went to Advent, quick 30-minute visit to find out what they could do for me, and they fixed my problem. This was before I was ever a spokesperson for Advent. We did a really simple sleep study at home in my own bed. Determined my problem, sinuses, nasal passage, my breathing triangle. After a short procedure done in office, I'm back to breathing well and sleeping through the whole night. If you struggle like I did, to take the time to see how Advent can help you, to find out how breathing well and sleeping well can make your nights better, go to AdventKnows.com, schedule an appointment today, because Advent knows when you breathe well, you live better.
It's Black Friday in July at Steinhoffel's. Get amazing deals on closeouts and bonus buys. Plus, save up to $1,300 on select patio collections. And pay with Steinhoffel's 18-month 0% financing. Shop in-store or online at steinhoffels.com.
Hey, John Mercure here for Landworks Wisconsin, locally owned landscape company that's fantastic. I know because they're doing the work in my yard. From their crews to the design consultants to the admin team, they're going to take great care of you when you're taking care of your home or your business. Joe, the guy working at my house, made a good observation. He was out there the other day and said, hey, what about bulbs? They're beautiful in the spring. Think about getting on the schedule for the fall today. You want a beautiful yard next year? You need to put some work into it this year. They are the real deal. LandworksWisconsin.com. Check it out. LandworksWisconsin.com.
WTMJ, W277CV, and WKTI HD2 Milwaukee from the Annex Wealth Management Studios. This is News Radio WTMJ, a good karma brand station.
You never know who's going to walk up and say hi. I actually saw him a little bit yesterday. From what district are you in again?
6th District.
6th District.
Sheboygan.
Yeah.
Oshkosh, Fond du Lac.
The good part of the state, right?
The best.
Yeah. You could. Before we get to the serious stuff, you go to every event in your district. I see you with pictures of you at everything.
Well, we try to get out and about. I think it's important if you're going to be.
Is there anything you won't eat it when you go to all these fairs and festivals? And
I won't say the secret things. We have a lot of brats. Brats are always good. Burgers.
Does anyone ever say in Wisconsin, if you're Wisconsin, you ever say no to a brat? No. The answer to that question is no.
No, absolutely true.
All right, Wisconsin Congressman Glenn Grothman. You've been at the RNC all week?
Yes.
Okay. Your impressions of how this has gone from a elected official?
Couldn't be better. This is the fourth convention that I've at least attended partially. I think it's the best of the four. Nothing but positive comments from people around the country. I think, and Milwaukee's such a great city, and sometimes you forget it because we live here. But people talking about how the architecture is the best they've ever seen. I don't know if I think that's primarily when I think of Milwaukee, but people say, man, you got great architecture here. The lake, of course, is tremendous. We had a party there on Sunday night. And the people are so friendly. That's the other thing you talk about. Man, you got friendly people in Milwaukee.
Yeah, I agree. One of the things I've noticed is above and beyond the politics, this is a party. And the party element has been done wonderfully, masterfully. It looks amazing on TV. I've been in the Fiserv Forum for a number of the big moments. It sounds amazing. I mean, I was talking about the house band in the Fiserv the other night. Like, these guys were rocking it. The delegates are having fun. The elected officials are having fun. But we're here to talk about serious things. And for Republicans, it was the nomination of Donald Trump and now J.D. Vance. So I'm going to ask you about both gentlemen. J.D. Vance first. What do you think of the pick?
I think he gave a great speech last night. As good a speech as you
What did you like about it?
Well, I liked because he talked about where he was from, and he understands what we have to do to make sure that all Americans succeed under the Trump plan when we get past the Biden economy. He had some great anecdotes about growing up, and of course he wrote a book which was a bestseller.
Hillbilly Elegy.
Yeah, a few years ago. I don't have time to read a lot of books in this job, but I read that book. So it was kind of cool that now he's going to be the vice president. And he was able in his speech, like I said, recount his childhood, which was really in difficult circumstances. His mother had,
addiction issues.
His grandma and grandpa had maybe we'll call it kind of a loud marriage.
Yes.
Loud marriage. So he came out of that to be so wildly successful in the military, academically, and then in the legal field.
What do you think he brings to the ticket that Donald Trump doesn't have, other than age?
Donald Trump is for the average guy. He really is. But there might be some people who think because of his wealth or his upbringing that he's not. So he doubly hammers home that the Republican Party is the party of the average guy. And I think that's what he brings to the table.
President Donald Trump takes the stage tonight. Big moments. I asked your peer, Congressman Tom Tiffany, what the message might sound like. What do you think the president is going to say?
I think it'd be conciliatory, but he's also got to point out the ways in which the Democrat Party, both Joe Biden and the people around him, are really putting the future of America at risk. I mean, we just can't be taking this 200, 300,000 people a month crossing the southern border. We cannot. He had 3 massive bills outside of our regular budget, which is the cause of all this inflation. Young people can't afford a place to live nowadays. And I think those will be the 2 things he'll emphasize. I hope he emphasizes, though, the work ethic and the pride in America, which I think he will.
Do you feel vindicated on the border issue? Because you've been talking about this. As long as I've talked to you, that's been something you've been mentioning.
Well, it's always been horrible. It just keeps getting worse until he finally did a little bit a couple months ago. But, no, it's a major issue. It was a major issue when Donald Trump first took over. But now, I don't know, I feel vindicated. I feel scared. Every month that many more people come across, it's going to be that much more difficult.
What does the Donald Trump second administration do? What do you think he'll do first on that issue?
Well, I think he's immediately going to go back to where he was, a stay in Mexico policy. When he left office, even before the COVID struck, we were at 5,000 to 10,000 people crossing every month before we got up over 350 at its worst. So I think he'll go back to stay in Mexico, get almost immediately back down to 2,000 or 3,000 people allowed here, and then he's got to find a way to begin to deport some of these people. And once he deports some, we like to believe that a lot of the other people will self-deport.
I got to get your thoughts, and I asked your Congressman Tiffany about this as well. Joe Biden has had a very rough 3 weeks as a candidate. Do you think today at the RNC, day 4, that he will be the candidate that's going up against Donald Trump in November. I don't have that belief anymore.
I don't think so. I mean, he is going to have every Democrat, Bill Clinton, Al Gore, every one of them, Barack Obama, sitting there with him saying, Joe, you got to drop out. I think the polling data for him will be worse than it was a few weeks ago, and it's awful hard to sit in a room and tell 9 or 10 people all no. You got another problem. You got Kamala Harris, and
why is she a problem?
Well, because she'd be such a horrible president. We know she's even to the left of Joe Biden, if that's possible, and she really. I mean, let's face it. I think this is underestimated. Joe Biden said you are in charge of the border. Now, first of all, any of us should be able to identify with that because sometimes our boss tells us to do something that wouldn't be our first pick.
Right.
But he's our boss, so we do it. So Joe Biden rescued Kamala Harris from the political ash heap, made her the vice president, and said, here, can you fix this problem for me? And Kamala Harris told her boss, go to hell. I'm not going to deal with this.
Didn't even go to the border for a long time.
No. And I don't see how... First of all, that just the lack of loyalty, I don't care where you stand politically, is stunning. And in addition to the lack of loyalty, the fact that she doesn't care about the border, which is the number one issue. So I don't see, once you go through with that, how you can say, we're going to put this woman up front and she's going to be a great candidate.
Last thing, real quick. Is that a bigger issue, or is it the family budget, the price of and the cost of inflation? What do you think? For Wisconsinites.
I think the border, because it's permanently going to change America economically. We've gone through bad inflation before. We're going to get through it again. But this massive number of people coming here is unprecedented in the country's history.
Wisconsin Congressman Glenn Grothman, always great to talk to you. We'll do it again down the road.
Absolutely.
All right. I will be off tomorrow, off on my listener trip, but we'll have the best interviews of the week. And then next week, Tracy Johnson will be filling in for me. This has been the Political Power Hour on 620 WTMJ. The news is next, and then Jeff Sherman with the Upswing. You're listening, of course, to 620 WTMJ.
Every great Midwest bank branch has document imaging technology from James Imaging Systems. Michael Quizon is IT systems administrator.